Hello and welcome to Never on the Back Foot. Tonight we're discussing the legacy of Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma, both of whom have announced their retirement from the T20I format, following India's amazing victory at the just concluded T20 World Cup. Fittingly, both began and ended the tournament as the top run getters in its history and throughout their careers. Right, Virat and Rohit have been cornerstones of Indian cricket. Playing pivotal roles in many triumphs over the years. And on the podcast today, joining me for the discussion is Anuj. He's an ardent fan, ardent cricket fan, and a journalist. So, warm welcome to you, Anuj. Thank you so much, for joining me today in the midst of a very busy schedule. And to all the viewers who have joined us in as well, please do share in all your thoughts, perspectives, and questions, and we'll make sure to address it through the course of our discussion. So, Anuj, without any further ado, my first question to you, of course, is going to be: what are your thoughts on India's campaign? The World Cup has just ended, but somewhere, we're all still hung up with the way India won that finals. Some people have not slept since then because of the excitement and everything that followed. So, yeah, your thoughts on the same.
Yeah, thank you, Neha, for having me. So absolutely buzzing. I would be lying if I say that I'm not buzzing. I was not praying. I think more than the campaign, the last 5 overs of that final, it was perhaps what embodied what we have been missing for last 11 years. That those crunch moments when we thought that another chance has gone by. This is another missed opportunity. They will win from here easily with a couple of overs to spare. From there, we were able to that drive, that what Rohit said after the game, that every single person wanted it badly. That wanted it badly part was so crucial, and that was something that drove the entire team to achieving something which looked impossible. With 38 from 30 in today's day and age, it's not a big deal. And and even the likes of Klasen Maharaj and Janssen, all this, they can bat okay to have run a ball. So definitely buzzing. And the campaign, I would say, it was all about peaking at the right time, and couldn't ask for anything better. After the squad announcement, there were a lot of questions, and honestly speaking, I also had them. But yeah, the lack of expectations is what perhaps helped the team at the end.
Yeah, I think this lack of expectations part is what I found particularly interesting because I think a lot of us going into the World Cup were like, "Bhai, ye to hone nahi wala. Let's just keep our expectations at the bare minimum." I think that's why it's just giving us so much happiness, right? And while we can discuss India's campaign in a whole other episode and just talk for hours on end. But I think one of the most striking things of the finals was, of course, the retirements of Virat and Rohit. I think a lot of people felt, this would be their last T20 international because they've been serving the nation for so long in this format. And maybe, yeah, it was like the fairy tale ending that they always kind of wanted. But Anuj, in all honesty, did you also see it coming?
Yeah, Rohit ka, I saw it coming. Virat, I still thought that perhaps a home T20 World Cup next time he might push for a couple of more years. But I definitely think that the fact that they won the T20 World Cup, and or maybe we don't even know what happened, what talks happened behind the scenes. Maybe their comeback also had this clause that you have, this is like, we are going to move on from you after this, no matter what, regardless of the result. So we don't know what talks happened behind the scenes, but definitely the fact that I'm actually happy that it all you know uh, progressed in the way that it did. Like for someone like Rohit, who was written off from T20 cricket, and the way he was struggling in the IPL as well, apart from his farewell innings. I hope it's not a farewell innings for MI, but apart from his last innings for MI, he really looked out of sorts. And I was really, I was scared for a bit that how is he going to deal with the, again in IPL it's a different thing. You get a couple of uncapped bowlers as well, but but the way he dealt with the Australian bowlers, it was something else. For him to be the highest run scorer, yeah.
Certainly. I mean, both of them, the kind of T20 World Cup campaigns they've had have been remarkable. And it's always better to, end your career on a high than, being thrown out of the team or, just being unceremoniously dumped. But let's look at these careers in isolation and let's start off with Virat, right? I mean, again, a lot of criticism on, the way he kind of paced his innings, even actually coming into the match, right? A lot of people had like zero expectations of him performing because of the kind of performances he had. Yet Commit the man. We saw him, score that fantastic 76 of just what 59 deliveries to, kind of help India dig out of a very troublesome situation in that match. So, what did you make of his knock and quintessential Virat stepping up when we need him the most?
Yeah, and I think the talk about strike rate and all is valid if you had, like, say, if you are 100 for 1 after 10 overs, right? And if that's somewhere that you have a platform and then he's not scoring it that quickly, you can understand it. But you can't talk about strike rate when the team is 34 for 3. When they are 34 for 3, all you're hoping is just Virat, please somehow let's get to 160. 160 was my initial thought. Okay, so 176 is 16 runs more than that. So you can easily talk in hindsight that Hardik got less deliveries to face and everything. And perhaps you could say just a couple of overs where Virat could have accelerated earlier. Like, he accelerated from the 16th over, he perhaps could have done from the 14th. But then too, I feel that Akshar's run out probably delayed that a couple of overs later. So uh, at the end of the day, 176 from 34 for 3 is something that you take. And if you still cannot defend 176 after being 34 for 3, then you just kind of give it to the opposition for batting well, which they did for most of their innings.
Certainly, and I think somewhere, although a lot of people criticized Virat for his slow innings, he kind of made up for it later. He just went all guns blazing, and he gave his best. And then you had the other batters coming in doing the jobs, which helped, which
Yeah.
helped India put a competitive total on the board. And just looking at Virat's career at large as well, man has played like what 125 T20Is, has scored like 4,188 runs, average of 48.69, a strike rate of 137, and he's what your second highest run getter in this format. So, what do you make of Virat, the T20 player? Because again, we did see a lot of people questioning his place in the side, or even questioning his T20 technique for a very long period of time, even when he plays for RCB in the IPL or for India. But what are your understandings of the making of this Virat Kohli, the T20 player?
I think about Virat, what he had said once in 2016 was that his T20 shots are an extension of his test game. And I felt that that was something for which he got the benefit of that till 2018, 2019. Then post COVID, Virat had his issues against the spinners and it had become a weakness, especially when you remember the T20 World Cup game against New Zealand where Santner and Sodhi kind of choked the Indian middle order. But again, you see that evolution in that IPL this year. He has brought out that slog sweep against spinners. So he is someone who was true to his values, but also at the same time had that uh, chance of adapting. Like, people talk a lot about his response about not being correct about the commentary box, people staying in the commentary box. But people forget that in the very next interview he said that I know that I have to keep adapting to the game. So that is something that I look more at rather than what he has spoken or what he has done. Like, for me, him hitting those slog sweeps against Jadeja and Santner on the pitch which was turning square, it was not easy in that game against CSK where everything was on the line. So I think that speaks more about his T20 game rather than anything else, because he was in his comfort zone from till 2016, 2018, 2019, where T20 hadn't really prospered that much into the mad hitting that we see now. But as soon as it happened, he did show his ability to work on his weakness. What the execution is something that is subjective. We can say that, oh, perhaps he didn't execute it well with 75 runs from 7 innings, but again he did it when it mattered the most. Again, that is why the T20 legacy of Virat will be something else and apart from anyone else. That is the thing.
Certainly, because as much as we are fixated on batters who can just go all guns blazing, who can kind of anchor the innings, because you lose those quick wickets, you need someone, right, to kind of just grind it out there, get you those runs and bat deep. Which again, a lot of people will disagree with, this. And even just looking at Virat's debut, I think it was versus Zimbabwe way back in 2010. So, Anuj, do you have memories of Virat Kohli, the T20 player back in the day, which was a good, like 14 years back to now?
Not really, not that much, because as I said, the gap on the approach between T20 and ODI back then was very narrow compared to what it is right now. So right back then, 160 to 180 was a very good score. and right now we say that we have a chance. You're 15 runs under par, 20 runs under par. So as I said, Virat's legacy as a T20 batter is from those two T20 World Cups where he was the player of a tournament, and his ability to adapt, his ability to adapt to the modern day T20 game is what I take as the biggest takeaway from his thing.
Certainly, I think that's what really, sets him apart as well. And the fact that you bring up T20 World Cups also, brings me to this of how, he also kind of finishes his career at the top of, the run scorers charts in your T20 World Cups. Remains the only player to have been the highest run getter at two different World Cups. I mean, not a lot of players can boast of a statistic like that. But Virat and T20 World Cups are an entirely different love story, right? So, what are your thoughts on the same?
I think he loves the big stage. What he said after the final, it kind of gave me more goosebumps, because if someone knows that it is his last innings, last T20 innings, it is very easy to get disheartened. But it kind of set him free, or rather, it gave him that to play with more responsibility. He kind of acknowledged that it is now or never for me. So the now or never thing, like there is a video that is going viral of him on his haunches, just sitting and concentrating at 34 for 3 when Akshar was walking into bat. So that shows the mentality. That is why we talk so much about the mentality of the Aussies, the Englishmen. But this is the mentality. He's the mentality monster, and it shows the way he was. I think he was 50 or 48, and he finished at 76 or 58. 59 is the was a wicket taking delivery. So he did score 26 runs in those 10 balls. So I'd look at that. That if that acceleration would have not come, I definitely would have thought that it's a very average innings. But definitely, as I said, the main thing about him is the big stage, and it couldn't have come at a better time for him, because again he bows out by delivering a big knock on the big stage.
Yeah, something that will go down, in the annals of history for being one of the finest knocks when India kind of needed it the most. And also just looking at Virat's, T20 laurels, it's impossible to not look at how, he was also named in the ICC Men's T20 Team of the Decade, right? This is for a big period of 2011 to 2020. So, what are your thoughts on his longevity and even relevance, right? Because again, not a lot of players can boast of this because they kind of become, like one format specific. Even when you look at the Fab Four, right? Joe Root or even Steve Smith haven't been able to assert their dominance as much in the T20 format as much as Virat has been able to do. Something sets him apart, right?
Yeah, as I said, his basics are very strong. Like, when he had said that this is my T20 game is an extension of the shots I play in Test cricket, he kind of simplified it for himself. And again, most of his innings have come in chases, where he kind of gets that extra gear, where somebody else has not been able to reach. And he had also acknowledged that in one stage, I think during 2016 or 2018, that he needed to add that six hitting to his game, where that is where the extra level of fitness and adding that extra level of muscle to his body for so that he's able to hit sixes. So again, that again shows his adaptability, and his adaptability is the reason why he was able to counter all these issues. And that is the biggest thing. If he can hit left arm spinners like that at the age of 35, people can say that why couldn't he do it in 2021. That is because he adapted his game. He realized that this was his weakness. And keeping your ego aside and accepting that it is a weakness is also a big thing for someone who is so you can say someone who is so who has achieved so much, who is such a legend of the game. So definitely for him, his adaptability is the biggest reason for his longevity.
That's actually very true because for a player of his stature, it's very easy to just be like, yeah, I know my skills, it's all muscle memory. I can just, do my thing over and over again. But the fact that he's so flexible and open to, criticism and feedback, perhaps from his close circle and his coaches, has probably helped his success in this format. And another aspect of Virat's T20 career is also his captaincy, right? Now he's captained India in what, 50 odd matches, emerging victorious in 30 and just losing 16. So, what did you make of his captaincy and general aura? Because again, we saw a lot of criticism, being diverted to his T20 captaincy not being proactive enough, and we've seen RCB's results in the past. But that's again, another case study in itself of what did not work out. But what are your 2 cents on Virat Kohli, the T20 captain?
I think his captaincy in T20 is seen a lot with the magnifying glass. People forget that in the end, IPL, there was a reason why so many years RCB wasn't able to do well was not because they had a bad captain. It is because the team combination was such that the batting was, they were sometimes they were over dependent on their batters. I think T20 captaincy is a lot result oriented. You can say, for example, if South Africa would have won that match, till today the biggest talking point would have been that with 54 needed of 6 overs, why did Rohit give the ball to Akshar, knowing that Klassen is a monster against spin? So I think T20 captaincy is a lot based on instincts and gut feeling, and gut feeling can go either way. So I look at Virat more as a test match tactician more than a T20. I definitely feel had RCB had a more balanced squad all these years, they would have easily won a couple of trophies given the batting might that they had. So I don't really look that much into his T20 captaincy as such.
I mean, yeah, that's a fair point. And, we see a lot of reports coming in how for the 2025 season, RCB might get him back as captain, which is going to give a lot of joy to, the RCB fans and everything. But, let's just wait and not believe these speculations. And also, Anuj, just looking at Virat's career in T20s, I'm sure you must have had like some very favorite knocks. I mean, the 82 not out, the one versus Pakistan, of course, makes my list. But do you have any favorite Virat Kohli knocks from T20Is?
For me, his knock against Australia and Mohali will always be special because that was a knockout. We had lost against New Zealand, and we had just won by 1 run against Bangladesh. So our net run rate was also not good, so we had to win that game. And the way he was just manufacturing his shots, like again, as I said, extension of his test shots, the cut behind point, the way he was able to hit even the Yorker land deliveries through the covers or behind point for boundaries, and the way he was celebrating after every boundary, that was something. He was batting like a man possessed, and I really cannot forget that innings. I still remember it very clearly. I was in my first year engineering, preparing for my unit test, some sort of midterm exam, and he was just batting there. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, there's just so many knocks of Virat that it really gets tough to pick, which is one favorite one. But even just looking at the way ahead for Virat, do you think there's going to be an entire focus on Test and ODIs? Because now he can really streamline his game. There's no pressure to just play those odd bilateral T20Is and everything. So yeah, somewhere he can again stamp his authority and kind of extend his career for a good 3-4 years at least.
Yeah, definitely. In ODIs, particularly his record in South Africa is incredible, and I definitely feel that will be at the back of his mind to probably win the World Cup and then retire in ODIs. And in Test cricket, definitely it depends a lot. As I said in most of his interviews, sometimes he has said that once I am done, once that fire within me is gone, you will not see me anywhere near a cricket field. So with me, always I have never been of that kind of with that kind of opinion that with Virat it is more related to fitness, that he can play till 40, 41. For me, Virat will stop the day his drive is over. As you saw in T20s, like he has won the T20 World Cup, that the goal is done, so his drive is over in that. So I think that would be the thing, and he could also retire early. We never know, but given his record in South Africa, I do feel that he would push himself for the 2027 ODI World Cup, definitely.
Fingers crossed, and here's hoping we get to see a lot more of him in ODIs, a format that he absolutely loves, really thrives in, and in tests as well. And now that our discussion is focused so much on Virat, let's look at Rohit, right? Again, another celebrated entity in the T20Is, and accumulating what 4,231 runs in 159 outings, playing since 2007. Rohit Sharma has etched, an identity for himself in this format. Anuj, what are your thoughts on Rohit Sharma, the T20 player?
Rohit Sharma, T20 player, if I said adaptability with Virat Kohli, Rohit Sharma would be adaptability with a magnifying glass, because the way he has adapted, the way he was written off, including by myself in the T20 format, the way he has come out of that as India's highest run scorer at a strike rate of 160, it is unbelievable the way he has adapted his game, and it shows what drive can do. He walked the talk. He walked the talk that this is how I want you to play. This is how I myself will play, and that was seen in his knock against Australia also. Like New York, we didn't see that much because the pitches didn't allow us, and that is also a greatness about Rohit Sharma, that even in that match, see, for me, I don't consider Ireland or USA as any other opposition like Australia. I respect the conditions. So that was a difficult knock that he played. So I feel that it shows more about his adaptability. Even his knock against England in Guyana, that was not a smash bang knock. So that was again responsible hitting. So I feel he has shown that adaptability with a magnifying glass, and yeah, that's pretty much the tribute to the player he is.
Absolutely, because he's someone, who defined T20s when it wasn't even the thing it is right now, has always led from the front. He's been an attacking batter, he's been aggressive. And time and again, every single time people write him off, he comes with that remarkable performance as well. And Anuj, I think when you look at Rohit Sharma, a lot of people attribute this term called lazy elegance to Rohit Sharma. Things come very easily to him. But I think recently Abhishek Nair's podcast, kind of gave us a lot of perspective into the hard work that Rohit Sharma has put behind the scenes. I think that 2011 World Cup when he was not picked was a catalyst for a lot of great things that have happened. So talk to us about that Rohit Sharma mentality and the way he's just built his career.
Rohit Sharma's mentality, if you take the past 7 months, that kind of defines his mentality. For someone whose last T20 knock was more about uh, how how to forget this knock. Basically, 27 runs in 28 balls against England. He was written off, right? He is out of sorts in IPL. The ODI World Cup for him, it gave him a recognition as someone who plays for the team. The selfless word was used a lot, and he did get the sympathy of the crowd, and rightly so, for the way he had played and the love and the admiration he had got despite India losing the final. So for him, the easiest thing would have been to call it quits, focus on the test format, and spend time with family and play the IPL. But he didn't do that. He chose the difficult path, which also had its own set of criticism. That why are you coming back? This is going two steps behind. We had a set captain in Hardik. Why are we going back to it? But then he proved everyone wrong, and that was the most difficult thing, because he was in a situation where anything apart from a trophy would have been considered a failure, but he still delivered that. And that for me is the biggest mentality that anyone can have. If suppose you are dreaming of winning the World Cup and you are one step away and you lost it, and you're 37, so very less chance you will be 40 by the time the next World Cup comes. So we don't know, he may play as well, but the drive to pull yourself through for a tournament which is just 7 months later, and then to be again in that final and to again deliver from a losing position. Like, people talk a lot about, as I said, T20 captaincy is a lot more result oriented. So his small nuances like field placements, not letting that single go, all these things matter a lot. And his mindset as a batsman, as a batter, what he has done in that T20 World Cup, definitely that is something that defines his aura.
Yeah, something that really sets him apart. And just looking at Rohit Sharma's career, making his T20I debut, in that ICC Men's T20 World Cup of 2007. This is 17 years back when this was the first ever World Cup in this format. Played under MS Dhoni's captaincy, helped India win that World Cup. And he's almost played in every World Cup, after that as well. But Rohit Sharma just seems to be made of a different cloth entirely, right? The kind of consistency he's been able to maintain over the course of these years, being relevant also, to the Indian team, speaks volumes about his personality.
Yeah, and very very good point that you spoke about being relevant. And he realized that in modern day T20 cricket, the only way to be relevant is to play fearless brand of cricket when conditions, and that to the asterisk was when conditions allow, and that he showed. He didn't play reckless shots against England, and as I said, in the USA leg of a tournament. So for him, firstly, that transition from a finisher to a middle order batter to an opener, and then realizing that the 2022 T20 World Cup. See, the one thing is taking a failure in your stride, and the other thing is learning from it. He learned from it. He realized the day when we lost in Adelaide that this is not something that we can go forward with. This brand of cricket is not acceptable, and I have to lead by example. it is very easy to talk about fearless brand of cricket, but I still remember that semi-final against Trent Bolt when he came down the track and smashed him over covers. That is what I call audacity and a fearless mindset. Even in the final, if you see, he was playing his role. That remains a debate that after a four and a six he shouldn't have hit Maxwell, and that is a debate for the rest of her life. But what mattered was that he accepted that this is not how things are supposed to be. This is not, and I have to change it. I have to lead by example, and he did exactly that. And that is what stands out about him. Being relevant. He realized that there were talks about him just being there because of reputation or on captaincy quota and everything, but he smashed all the talks, and that is what stands out about him.
Yes, and ending on a high without anyone having to push you out of the door is probably the most ideal scenario, for any celebrated athlete or cricketer to, just call it quits. And just looking at Rohit Sharma, also fondly called as Hitman. Now he's hit five, T20I hundreds as well. This is again the most in the format, which I think equals the record that Glenn Maxwell has. But somewhere, you can see Rohit has some love for hitting those massive hundreds and just stepping up when India needs him the most, right?
Definitely, and that is something that is a mindset which he actually left behind right now. How many hundreds, and that was seen with the way he got out against Mitchell Stark. He tried to hit the ball. He could have easily just strolled it around for singles, and especially given that it was a dead rubber for India, like they only a big loss would have stunted their growth. But I think that is something about Rohit Sharma. When you don't look for milestones, they come to you, and that is exactly what happened with him. Firstly, he was that kind of a player who used to take his time to start and then smash big scores. And towards the back end of his T20 career, he realized that he had to be more of a pinch hitter at the top, and it didn't matter if he faced 20 balls, he had to score 30, 40. If he faced 30 balls, he had to score 50, 60. So that is what his mindset was, and he was able to execute that with his fitness. As we say, we speak a lot about sometimes, that somebody doesn't have six packs, or now you know, oh, he has a paunch or something, but he showed that he had that drive and that ability to adapt to the modern day T20 cricket, and that is what is best thing about him.
Certainly, and I think that's something that really sets him apart because this fitness issue is something that has been, thrown about a lot. Like, he
Yeah,
doesn't seem like the fittest guy. How does he clear these yo-yo tests? Yet coming up with performances like that to defy all his critics is something that's quite remarkable. And just delving on a point you brought in earlier, Anuj, about how, the captaincy bit of Rohit and how he is, like unparalleled when it comes to astute captaincy. I mean, his IPL records literally speak for itself. But even as an India skipper, having led India in 62 T20Is, winning 49 and just losing 12, Rohit Sharma was a very shrewd captain, right, in T20Is and really set the template for, how to get things right. And he didn't do a lot of wrong. So what are your thoughts on Rohit Sharma, the captain in T20Is?
as someone who has followed Mumbai Indians very closely right from the start, I have had the pleasure of watching Rohit Sharma closely as a captain as well from for almost a decade. And definitely, as I said earlier about Virat, T20 captaincy is more about gut instincts, and Rohit has got his gut instincts right most of the times. That is where he stands apart. In T20 cricket, you have to take a lot of decisions on the go. On the go, you have to decide. Like, even small things. Like, even in his first IPL final as captain, he gave Lasith Malinga the new ball when it was Vinay Kumar who was taking the new ball, or Mitchell Johnson who was taking the new ball, and Lasith Malinga got the wicket. So it is instinctive captaincy, remaining calm under pressure, not panicking. I think that is what has got Rohit this far. Because if you see, Mumbai Indians won three of their finals on the final ball, three or two, I think. It could have easily gone either way. But that shows that he's destiny's child as well. That also helps. So definitely, that I feel that, and this is certainly a marker. Now it will be interesting to see what Mumbai Indians do, because a World Cup winning captain. Yeah, now how will you keep hold of him without giving him the captaincy? And now, so that will be an interesting bit, because he has certainly shown that as a captain he still has got it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is another very interesting point to bring up, Anuj, because we have the IPL auctions coming up, a lot of dynamics and stuff, being thrown around all around social media and media at large. How many retentions will the star players like, Rohit Sharma still want to continue? So this is something we'll have to see. Time will tell us how that kind of transpires. And even just looking at Rohit Sharma, the T20I battle, I'm sure you must have some favorite knocks. So anything coming right at the top of your mind?
My favorite knock would be right now that he played in St. Lucia, because that was against all odds at the back end of his career when he was written off. All his knocks, like people, I don't like that, but people definitely want to see which kind of opposition, which big team, small stage, small team. And but again, it came against Australia, against a completely proper bowling attack, so that is even more special. And at a time where even somewhere I felt that, like, will he be able to do that? Because having a 15 ball 30 game is different, and scoring 90 or 40 balls, it requires a different kind of impact. And Rohit showed that he attacked the right kind of deliveries, and I think that is what stood out from that innings. He was almost batting like a man possessed, and I think that would always remain at the back of his mind, that I proved my critics wrong, if at all he thinks about that.
Certainly. I mean, imagine bringing your 50 in just 19 balls. You're almost equaling a record that was set by Yuvraj Singh. And doing it at this age, where a lot of people think, after cricketers hit 30, they're like, they're just old people. But, still managing to do that was
Yeah.
something fantastic. And, before we move on to other aspects, what do you think is the way ahead for Rohit now that he's obviously going to be prioritizing tests and ODIs? He'll still play the IPL, right? I mean, at least from the looks of it, although he's given up T20Is, I hope he's still playing the IPL, you think?
Yeah, he did tell the reporters that he is definitely going to play the IPL. That is why I said now it is going to be interesting to see how MI keep hold of him, because they will definitely know. See, IPL is a lot about branding as well. He is the face of Mumbai Indians. Like, let's not kid ourselves. So definitely that is something that that they will have to take a call on. And it will not be easy for the player as well to leave, because we learn a lot about player management, and he is being managed by Rise Sports, which is of Reliance only. So I think that that is something that's a tricky area to see how it goes about. But yeah, if he comes in the auction pool, there will be no shortage of suitors, that is for sure. And like, I can see a 20 crore bid from Punjab Kings from 1,000 miles away, because they are always ready to splash money.
Oh yeah, I mean the reason I asked this is because he's given up on T20Is. So if he just wants to kind of do this whole workload management side of things, will he also give up the IPL? But if Mumbai does let go of him, well, I think that would be a very big mistake. But as you know, he will definitely have takers in that auction, because there's going to be a lot of money for teams to splurge, and he's definitely one player who anyone would want. If you want a captain material type of player, or someone who can just give you great starts at the top, why not your Rohit Sharma? So now that we've spoken about Virat and Rohit, the kind of illustrious careers they've had in T20s, there was another retirement, kind of surprising one, but at the same time, probably we again saw it coming, and that was of Sir Ravindra Jadeja, calling time on his career. Although, he's done quite a lot in T20. This World Cup, we didn't probably see the best of him. Maybe he's again a victim of his standards. We were expecting a lot. But Anuj, what are your thoughts and reflections on his T20I career and everything he sort of achieved?
Yeah, look, I think when people look at contributions, you can definitely say that Jadeja's was not that up to the mark. But again, such players only give balance to your team. The fact that India had six bowling options and eight batters, that was down to Jadeja and Akshar Patel. And I think the baton has passed in this T20 World Cup from Jadeja to Akshar. I think that Akshar is no longer Jadeja's understudy. He has shown it with the ball as well, with the bat as well. So I think it was the right time for Jadeja to call it quits. Yes, he has been a terrific servant for Indian cricket, and I still feel we don't have a replacement for him in Test cricket. So he should definitely focus on that format, and perhaps in ODIs as well. I won't say that much, because again, I have not seen that much of Akshar playing consistently. But definitely in Test cricket, we don't have someone like Ravindra Jadeja who can smash Test hundreds and pick 5 wicket for fun. So I think he would definitely want to prolong his Test career for another couple of years, or at least 3 years more.
Hopefully, because when you see Ashwin and Jadeja on Indian pitches, it's an entirely different narrative there. You know, the kind of results they produce is unparalleled, right? And just coming back to Rohit Sharma retiring as well. Now, this would of course mean that India would need a captain for T20Is as well. Possibly, we could see split captaincy also. You know, finally taking shape here. So, Anuj, do you think this is obviously going to be the possibility? And any candidates coming to your mind for T20Is?
T20, I think it will be Hardik because the way they have announced they had announced him as vice captain, so I think that is clear at their part. At least for the next T20 World Cup, I think Hardik will be leading the team, and I think Bumrah will be the vice captain and deservingly so. But yeah, that is something they could go either way. They could go Bumrah captain as well. I don't mind because that is the guy is next level. The guy is a freak. So I don't mind him captaining as well. But again, they would think about workload management and all that. So maybe he won't play all the T20s. So Hardik will definitely lead the team.
Yeah, that again makes for an interesting discussion because when you look at India's, like squad composition for bilateral T20s, usually a young team is sent, or not the usual suspects there. So even if Hardik is made the captain, is he going to get those opportunities? Workload management, and again, you have so many takers for this captaincy role in the T20I side, right? You have the likes of Sky, you have Bumrah. You also have Hardik, of course, raising his hand. We don't want another Mumbai Indian situation. So let's see how delicately the situation is balanced. But at least from the looks of it, it does seem like Hardik is going to, probably be the captain there as well. And let's take this quick comment from Prasanna as well. PB Talks, still not over the final. Insane and surreal. Should have been in West Indies also. Also, a lot big up. Thank you so much, Prasanna, for your comment. And I think, yeah, both of us are not over the finals as yet. In fact, when I approached Anush for this episode, man was, just feeling all the emotions of that amazing World Cup we had seen. Yeah, Anush, you want to add something here?
Yeah, definitely. I was buzzing and I still remember I was praying till the second last ball. Once that second last ball didn't go for a six, I was like, "Hush, chalo." So that is something again. When it was 30 from 30, I was thinking, okay, this hurts less than 19 November. I didn't have that many expectations from this team, but again, somewhere it was like that oh God, we are going through it again. We are losing it again. Oh, this is a mental block we won't be able to break. But I definitely feel that this has broken a mental barrier, and I won't be surprised if we win the Champions Trophy and the next T20 World Cup as well, or at least one of the next two. I definitely get a feeling that that is going to happen, but let's see.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of us are hoping, this is the start of much bigger things and achievements. We
Yeah.
don't have to wait another decade and longer for, ICC trophy laurels as well. But even just looking at the way ahead for India now, of course, you have three massive retirements with Virat, Rohit, and Jaddu. But Anuj, are you still confident that we have replacements coming in place? I mean, you have the Zimbabwe series coming up. Everyone's so excited. There's just so many fresh faces, and youngsters will make the cut to this squad as well. So all in all, India's T20 side still looking good, or do you want to save your thoughts for after that Zimbabwe series?
Yeah, no, definitely. I see. I personally look at Yashasvi Jaiswal and Abhishek Sharma as the next openers for the 2026 T20 World Cup. But I understand they're looking at Shubman Gill, you know, making him the captain. Also, even if Gill Jaiswal are at the top, then I guess Abhishek Sharma at three, and then Sky continues to be at four, and Hardik at five. So it could be that, and Ruturaj Gaikwad is also there in with a shout. So definitely there's a lot of room. I think even for this T20 World Cup, many were arguing that there was no need to go back to Rohit and Virat, and I completely understand that, and I also was of that opinion because I thought Jaiswal was ready. And then you have the likes of Rinku and all as well down the order. In case Hardik wants to push himself up the order, if it's Sky three and Hardik four, then again you have those sort of players like Rinku Singh, Jitesh Sharma, and all those players. So definitely there's a lot of quality, and I think Rohit and Virat have called it quits at the right time because now you have a proper 2 year cycle to decide and to get your horses in, to give them the games, and have a settled side by the time the home T20 World Cup comes.
Certainly, and I think, as you rightly said, there are a lot of candidates who can, take up the baton. I mean, I know these are massive retirements, but you still have players, who can step up and deliver. And hopefully, the Zimbabwe series should give us a good indication of where things are headed. And finally, Anuj, almost as we reach the end of our discussion as well, now Virat and Rohit and even Jaddu have called time on their T20 career. It's not going to be too long before they decide to call it quits even in the other formats. So does that thought kind of unsettle you that there is going to be a time when these legends are not going to play the game, and yeah, it's going to be the kind of reality we're going to live in.
Yeah, I actually am someone who survived Sachin Tendulkar's retirement. So I am of that school. So I definitely feel that I won't be that broken. That these guys are not. Of course, there is a feeling of emotion for time being, but of course, with time you have to move on. A journalist is not allowed to have too many emotions. So definitely that is something which will be there. Yeah, you will definitely feel their absence on the field especially when it comes to Rohit and Virat, but it will sink in eventually. They will be part of the coaching setup, or they will be a part in some other capacity. So just the way it happened with Sachin, I felt that how would I watch cricket after that? But it was eventually someone came up, so somebody will definitely come up who will take the baton from them.
Yeah, fingers crossed that happens very seamlessly, because we have often seen, with transitions happening in a lot of these countries, it kind of gets very rocky. But the way Indian cricket is moving, I don't think it will happen. And on the subject of journalists as well, today is World Sports Journalism Day. So, a happy
Yeah.
World Sports
Thank you.
Journalism Day to both of us. Anuj, and thank you for all the work you do as well. And yeah, that pretty much does conclude our discussion as well. First up, I'd like to take the opportunity to thank you, Anuj, for joining me today and discussing at large Virat and Rohit's journey. It has given me some sort of closure about their T20I careers, and I hope it has given you some perspective as well. And to all our viewers who have kind of joined us live and will probably watch the stream later, I hope you've liked the video, and do share your comments as well, because Virat and Rohit are, of course, two very big pillars of Indian cricket who have called time on their T20I careers. It's taken a lot of time for all of us to process. Do share your feelings. And we will be doing live shows like this, with cricket fans and journalists. So, make sure you subscribe to Never on the Back Foot across all our social media platforms. And do follow Anuj. His handle is right there at AP Talks Cricket for his lovely perspectives as well. And yeah, guys, we also have an audio podcast. That's where we started from. And now, we are trying YouTube. So please do support us across all fronts. And yeah, that's all for now. Thank you so much. Take care and bye, everyone.